What's up everybody? Today we have a local video. This one should be incredible. Why so few people live on the west coast of Ireland. So I actually live on the west coast of Ireland, so I wonder what he's going to say in this video. It's already a day old and it's got 100,000 views, so shout out to Geography by Jeff. Go subscribe to his YouTube channel. I subscribed yesterday, but I don't know why they unsubscribed me. But yeah, this one should be amazing, guys. Obviously, the west coast of Ireland is super not populated compared to the Dublin and the east coast. And I'm going to give you my two opinions. Well, firstly, the first opinion, guys, is the reason why the west coast of Ireland is not that populated is because, just plain and simple, there's no jobs here, guys. Everyone's broke here. It's not really that rich and wealthy. 90% of the GDP or whatever the government spending, the people's spending is in Dublin. So that's why there's a million people there. And then the rest of the Ireland, you know, the other 25 counties or whatever, get 5 to 10% of the actual money to spend for the rest of the country. So could be that, guys. It could be housing as well. Not much houses. A few different reasons, but I want to see exactly what his reason is, because it seems like he's like from America, so I don't know what to expect from this one. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you all think. Hit me up on Patreon as well. And yeah, let's go.
The island of Ireland is home to about 7.2 million people, spread across the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. But despite this political separation, both countries exhibit the same population trend. Every major population center hugs the east coast, leaving the central region and west coast of the island feeling pretty empty. So why don't more Irish live in the western parts of the island?
Let's go, Jeff.
Welcome to Geography by Jeff. Today we're off to explore the island of Ireland and why it developed in the unique way that it did. And what we're going to find is a unique confluence of historic decisions and, of course, geographic reasons for this. But first, today's podcast episode is a bit different. Given that she has a brand new album coming out, Hunter and I decided to track Taylor Swift around the world.
Yeah, so check out Taylor Swift.
Hey, John.
I don't know much about Taylor Swift, but go check out Spotify. I think he was sponsored by Spotify there. But cool video, guys. I just want to kind of keep going. The creation and colonization of Ireland. Okay, so there's a few different reasons. Obviously, the famine as well. But I'm talking about 2024 Ireland. Why is it not that populated? No houses, no jobs. It's very poor compared to Dublin. Very, very poor. But it's very scenic, guys, and I love doing tour guiding. I'm a tour guide as well. I bring Americans and Canadians and Spanish and Italians around the west coast of Ireland. So yeah, it's just not very populated at all. So
people have been living on the island of Ireland for a long time. While recent evidence suggests human activity on the island dates back to around 33,000 years ago, it's theorized that the first sustained settlements on the island existed closer to 9,000 years ago, likely arriving through a land bridge from Scotland or by sea. These early
he's correct, about 10,000, 9,000 years ago.
Settlers were Mesolithic hunter-gatherers, and with the advent of the Neolithic period, Ireland saw the arrival of agriculture, the construction of large stone monuments such as New Grange, and the beginnings of a structured society.
Nice.
The Bronze and Iron Ages heralded further developments, with the arrival of Celtic culture around 600 BCE, introducing a new language and a sophisticated social system. The Celts, more locally known as Gaels, arrived from Galicia in modern-day Spain and organized into various tribes and kingdoms.
Yeah, a lot of people in Ireland actually look very Spanish, guys. They have like really dark hair and, you know, really dark skin as well. Some of my friends, we call it like a bog tan. Oh, he's a bog tan, yeah. But like not really, guys. I think like a lot of the west coast, you know, people are very, very Spanish, guys. A lot of my friends, you know, they look super Irish as well, but with the, you know, the redhead hair and ginger hair, but a lot of them look Spanish. Most people actually look Spanish.
These early civilizations left a lasting impact on Ireland's linguistic, cultural, and even political landscape. The first significant external influence came with the arrival of Christianity around the 4th century, brought by missionaries like St. Patrick. This transformed Irish society, leading to the foundation of monasteries that became centers of learning and culture not only in Ireland, but across Europe during what was then known as the Dark Ages. The Viking raids of the 8th century introduced new dynamics, leading to the establishment of coastal towns like Dublin, Waterford, and Limerick. Though initially plunderers, the Vikings eventually settled, trading and intermarrying with the Gaels. But it would
the Vikings, they would come here and they would steal all our resources and blonde women, and then they would just basically go back home. It was pretty unfortunate. But, you know what I mean? You know, women are still beautiful here, I will say that. Especially if they're like redhead or something. You know, it's cool to be different, guys. You know, you don't want to be the same as everybody else, but it is cool to be different. So yeah, people here look very different, like one another, you know.
Would be the Norman invasion of Ireland in 1169 that marked the beginning of over 800 years of English influence and eventual rule. Initially invited to assist in a local conflict, the Normans soon established their own territories, building castles and fortifying towns. Despite their influence, the Normans eventually became more Irish than the Irish themselves in some respects, adopting local customs and intermarrying. However, the Tudor conquest of Ireland in the late 1500s, followed by the plantation policies of the 1600s, where English and Scottish settlers were given lands confiscated from Irish chieftains, sowed the seeds for long-term conflict. The penal laws, aimed at diminishing the power of the Catholic majority, further entrenched divisions. All of this built up to the Great Famine in Ireland between 1845 and 1849, a disastrous event caused initially by a bad potato blight, but would primarily be due to intentional inaction by England.
Yeah, so let's not mistake that, guys. I appreciate this guy. You know, he's done his research, obviously. The famine wasn't just caused by potato blight, okay? The British actually had loads of food. In Dublin, actually, Irish people were making food for the British to ship it over to England. So, you know, we had tons of food. The British people just basically wanted to starve everybody, you know, unfortunately. And I laugh because it's just unbelievable when you think back to that. It's just ridiculous.
This event led to the death of approximately 1 million Irish and the immigration of 1 million more.
Yep.
The famine profoundly affected Irish society and is a key factor in the population decline that continued for decades. It also intensified calls for land reform and increased nationalist sentiment, leading to a series of movements aiming for independence from Britain. The early 1900s was a tumultuous period for Ireland, culminating in the Easter Rising of 1916, the War for Independence, and the subsequent Anglo-Irish Treaty of 1921. This treaty established the Irish Free State as a dominion within the British Empire, but also partitioned the island, creating Northern Ireland, which remained part of the United Kingdom.
Yeah, very cool. So obviously you guys got the whole history there. Now, I have t-shirts that say County Gaines Gang 1916 with the Irish flag on them, but a lot of people don't really classify 1921. That's when everything was signed and everything, but 1916 was really the year, was like the first push that everyone was like pushing back against the British, you know, the 1916 Easter Rising. It's a very profound year, even though, you know, I say like independence t-shirts, because 1916 is really that year that everybody knows about. 1921 is kind of just the official day that we separated type of thing, right?
This division sparked the Irish Civil War and sowed the seeds for future conflicts, particularly in Northern Ireland, where decades of sectarian violence known as the Troubles would begin in the late 1960s up to the late 1990s. Today, Ireland is split between the Republic of Ireland, an independent country since 1949, and Northern Ireland, which continues to be part of the United Kingdom, both united by a single physical geography that will forever bind them together. But before we get to the geography of Ireland, if you're enjoying this video, hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, hit that, bro. Go over and subscribe to him, man. Give him some love.
The island of Ireland, nestled in the North Atlantic Ocean, is well known for its greenery. So much so, in fact, that the entire island has been given the nickname of the Emerald Isle. And this is largely due to the unique geographic position Ireland has found itself in. Located between the 51 and 55 degrees northern latitudes, Ireland is basically the first place in Europe to be hit by weather and winds that are carried by the jet stream and pick up speed over the Atlantic Ocean. This means that Ireland's climate is classified as oceanic, marked by mild temperatures, consistent rainfall, and generally the absence of extreme temperatures.
The Gulf Stream, I think he's talking about there.
This climate is heavily influenced by the North Atlantic Drift, a continuation of the Gulf Stream, which brings warm waters to Ireland's shores, moderating the temperature. And of course, rainfall is a defining feature of the Irish climate. While the West Coast receives the most rain, thanks to the prevailing westerly winds, the East Coast, sheltered by the Central Mountains, tends to be drier and slightly warmer.
Yep.
Speaking of mountains, Ireland is not flat. While it doesn't have high peaks, its topography is characterized by a series of low-lying mountains that encircle a central plain, creating a bowl-like formation. The highest peaks are found in the southwest, with Carrauntoohil in County Kerry reaching 1,038 meters above sea level, part of the McGillicuddy-Spreeks Range. These mountains are not only significant for their height, but also for their geologic composition, with ancient sandstone and quartzite telling stories of Ireland's ancient past.
Yeah, that's the highest mountain in Ireland, okay.
The central plains of Ireland, in contrast, are a mix of peat bogs, lakes, and fertile agricultural lands. This area is the heartland of Ireland's agricultural prowess, thanks to its rich, loamy soils. The bogs, such as the Bog of Allen, are significant carbon sinks and hold records of Ireland's environmental history, preserved in layers of peat. Ireland's rivers also play a crucial role in its geography, with the River Shannon standing out as the longest river between both Ireland and Britain. Stretching over 360 kilometers, it drains the Central Plains, meandering through several lakes, including Lough Derg and Lough Ree, before reaching the Atlantic Ocean at Limerick. The Shannon, along with rivers like the Boyne, the Blackwater, and the Barrow, has been vital for inland navigation, trade, and settlement patterns throughout Ireland's history.
And the Corrib River as well that flows through Galway is like the fastest flowing river in Europe, or at least the second fastest, I think.
Finally, because it's an island, Ireland has an extensive and rugged coastline. With a length of about 7,500 kilometers, it is renowned for its dramatic cliffs, such as the Cliffs of Moher, which rise over 120 meters above the Atlantic Ocean. The coastline is indented with numerous bays, inlets, and peninsulas, such as the Iveragh Peninsula, home to the Ring of Kerry, and Dingle Peninsula. These features are the result of glacial activity during the last ice age, which sculpted Ireland's landscape, leaving behind fjords such as Killarry Harbour and the drumlins that pepper the northern landscape. Ireland's geography paints a pretty dramatic picture, and if you've been keeping up, you can start to understand why so many Irish live on the East Coast and not the West.
Okay, here we go. Now we've finally gotten to the answer, guys. 8 minutes into the video. Let's go.
Ireland's population is not divided equally, and despite existing across two separate countries, a noticeable pattern has emerged across the entire island. Most major population centers are located on the East Coast, leaving the Central Region and West Coast feeling pretty empty, and the reasons for this are as much geographic as they are historic. The historic aspect of English colonization plays a pivotal role in understanding this demographic pattern. The colonization of Ireland by England began in the 11th century and intensified under the Tudor monarchs. The eastern part of Ireland, being physically closest to England, was the first to be colonized and the most heavily influenced by English settlement policies, particularly during the plantation periods of the 16th and 17th centuries. Dublin, situated on the east coast, emerged as the epicenter of English administration and military power in Ireland. It was the seat of English administration, around which economic activities flourished, attracting settlers, merchants, and subsequently a larger population, both from within Ireland and from external immigration. The desire for proximity to England further cemented the East's prominence. Being closer to England meant easier access to the administrative and economic heart of the British Empire, facilitating trade, communication, and military reinforcement. Ports on the eastern coast, such as Dublin, Cork, and Belfast, became bustling hubs of trade and commerce.
So yeah, that's one of the main reasons, okay, is just location-wise. But everybody knows that. But we're trying to look for like the true reasons now in 2024 why the West Coast is not as populated, okay? And actually Dublin's losing population as well, because I believe loads of people are immigrating to like Australia and stuff like that, Canada.
Not just with England, but also with the rest of the world. This economic advantage spurred urban development and population growth in these areas, in contrast to the West, which remained more isolated from direct English influence in major global trade routes. The physical geography of Ireland also contributed to the population disparity between the East and the West. The western part of Ireland is characterized by a more rugged terrain, with numerous mountain ranges, rocky landscapes, and a deeply indented coastline. These features, while stunningly beautiful, posed challenges for agriculture, transportation, and urban development. The western regions receive higher rainfall and are more exposed to the Atlantic winds, making the climate harsher compared to the more sheltered and fertile east. In contrast, the eastern part of Ireland boasts relatively flatter lands, especially in the Central Plains, which extend into the east. These areas have more fertile soils and were more suitable for agriculture and settlement. Meanwhile, the general topography of the East facilitated the development of roads and later, railways, further enhancing its attractiveness for settlement and urban development. Over centuries of development, these factors combined to create a self-reinforcing cycle. Economic opportunities and administrative importance attracted more people to the East, which led to further development of infrastructure and services, which in turn attracted even more settlers. Meanwhile, the West remained more rural, with smaller towns and less industrial development.
So yeah, I'm not so sure back in the day for sure, but nowadays, I don't know if it's just the landscape, like it being mountainous in the West Coast, because West Coast is more mountainous, I suppose, but it's not super mountainous. There's still like, Limerick and like, different areas like that, Galway, Donegal, that's not really mountainous at all,
This trend is seen across both the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, showcasing the two countries' similarities in development and population, which begs the question, if these two are so similar, could they ever reunite into a single, unified Irish country?
I mean, this man is asking all the right questions. Let's just say that, guys. You know what I mean? But yeah, fire. Very good. Is United Ireland possible? I think nowadays they're trying to push for that, actually.
The potential for a united Ireland, merging the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland into a single country, has long been the subject of political, social, and cultural discourse. Yeah. And this idea...
Definitely more political than anything, because socially people don't really care too much. They kind of do, yeah, but, well, very, very little people. Cultural, it's kind of similar. Some parts are not, obviously, but political, it's much more political.
Has gained renewed momentum in the wake of the United Kingdom's exit from the European Union, a seismic event that has shifted national priorities within Northern Ireland and altered the dynamics of Irish-British relations. And at the heart of all of this is the Good Friday Agreement, a cornerstone of peace and the framework within which a united Ireland might be pursued. The Good Friday Agreement, signed in 1998, was a monumental achievement in the peace process, ending decades of conflict known as the Troubles, and laying the groundwork for power sharing in Northern Ireland. One of its key provisions allows for a referendum on Irish unification if it appears likely that a majority of Northern Ireland would support it. For years, the prospect of such a referendum remained a distant possibility, but Brexit has raised the issue once again. You see, Northern Ireland, which voted to remain in the EU, has found itself at the center of complex negotiations and arrangements to maintain an open border with the Republic of Ireland, a European Union member. This open border is crucial, not just for economic reasons, but also for the social and political fabric that has been carefully maintained since the Good Friday Agreement. The prospect of any hardening of the border raises concerns about the return to a less peaceful era, undermining the spirit of cooperation that has prevailed between the two countries. The path to a united Ireland, however, is still fraught with complexities. It requires not just a majority in favor in Northern Ireland, but also a consideration of the Republic of Ireland's readiness to integrate an additional population into its own systems. There are significant
like if the population got so big in the Republic or the North, I'm sure they would just join up just because it's crazy amount of population, but right now probably not for a very, very long time that's going to happen.
Questions about the economic viability, the social integration of communities with deep cultural divides, and the political adjustments required to accommodate the unionist identity within a united Ireland. For its part, the European Union's stance on a potential united Ireland has been noteworthy. The EU has indicated that, much like the case of East and West Germany, Northern Ireland would automatically be part of the EU if it were to unify with the Republic of Ireland. This stance adds an additional layer to the calculus of unification, offering a potential pathway back into the EU for Northern Irish residents.
Yeah, we don't know, but Ireland is kind of toying with the idea of leaving the EU as well, which wouldn't be the worst idea.
That ever actually happen though? Only the Northern Irish can say for certain. Ireland is a beautiful island, but a unique confluence of historic and geographic reasons keep most Irish hugging the East Coast. And due to the closeness the two countries continue to have with the United Kingdom and European Union, that's not likely to change anytime soon. Hey.
I wouldn't speak too soon there, buddy. People are speaking about leaving the EU right fast.
Hey, today's
Captain America over here, my bad.
Episode was all about Ireland, and you can join me there in person later this year.
Oh, cool. Shout out to Geography with Jeff. I might go and join you, buddy. Where you at? You're at the... Hold on, where did he say he was, guys?
Be there in person later this year. Early bird tickets are going fast, so be sure to sign up as soon as possible. Hotel...
Yeah, that's kind of cool, guys. Like, he's actually gonna come to Ireland. I'd love to meet him. I'd love to meet you, Jeff. Man, hit me a message, man, if you want to hang out. That's crazy, man. He's doing a tour. Of course he is. I mean, I don't know. This guy doesn't look very Irish, but maybe he is. You know, he looks more German, more of like German descent, but very cool, very nice, very, very nice video, guys.
This episode was all about Ireland.
Join me October 7th, 2024. Guides, hotels, meals. See link in the description. Yeah, guys, if you guys want to check out him in person and talk to him in person, it'd be amazing to see him. October 7th to the 12th. Wow, amazing, guys.
And you can...
Alright, let me know what your thoughts on that, guys. Why the West Coast isn't as populated as the East. I love you all. Stay free, and I'll see you on the next one, guys. Peace.